I made a prison for Miningblob's one chunk challenge, and uh, I chose to call it Raven's Retaliation. So this is the prison. Exterior was built by mostly Fishy Boy, and there was a little bit of extra help from me, Leon, and Blonde Burns on the exterior. And so yeah, I think it looks pretty cool. Now let's go into the interior. So, uh, as you can see, it's kind of like the string is just there for the exterior, so the concrete powder doesn't fall. But yeah, you notice the shape is not like a normal prison, and I'll say more why later. But here's the outer smart bands. There's 3 of them. They are piglins with diamond armor because diamond armor is cheaper than netherite, and it does just about the same thing. And yeah, every single detector in this prison goes to butted pistons that will trigger the suicide switch, anvil grid, and yeah, so there's 3 smart bands. The 4th band is actually right here, covered in wither defense, and the reason why is because of tridents. So if you have a suicide in the middle with nothing in its hand, it can pick up tridents using the trident exploit. So to prevent this, we have a band here with something in its hand already that keeps the other one not that keeps the center area not banned. But then when the suicide triggers, it will push itself all the way to ban the other part. There's one that goes to here, and then there's another one that goes all the way to the interior. So yeah, and then the way it triggers, again, butted pistons. Every single detector in this prison uses butted pistons to make it faster because it does take time for this to trigger. However, it does not take a long time. It takes anywhere between 2 and 3 seconds to cover the entire unbanned area. So yeah. Roof detector, pretty standard, calibrated skulk. Floor detector, basically the same as Foxden, except the item frames for explosion detection are only under the places that need them, which would be the entities. These cats, the auto panic cats, for the guards are actually, despite what you may think, they are warp arrow proof. And I can explain why, kind of, but if you want to know a little bit more, then you can watch my how to patch warp arrows video. And so basically, when an arrow comes, it's either going to be inside the block or outside of the block but already colliding with the cat. And since the cat's big enough, there's not enough space for an arrow to land while it's in air and not touching the cat already. So yeah, if you have a mob that's bigger than 0.5 blocks in width, then you can have its head, like the top part of its hitbox, in a glass block, but the like the bottom part, as long as it's touching the ground and also in this very center of the block, it will patch warp arrows. So all 3 of the cats are warp arrow proof. This is the mercy switch. You can set this to redstone once the guard logs off. And then the cell. So the cell is kind of like the Raven's Revenge cell, although slightly different. So yet again, there's the pressure plates above the cell, and when you break one of the wool blocks, it breaks the pressure plate, which triggers the skulk, which will trigger all these butted pistons. But instead of having the squilly right here, because there was a flaw with that in the Raven's Revenge, the squilly is all the way up here. So Yeah, when you power a something like a glass block, it doesn't power anything next to it, but it does update the things next to it. So if you were to stand in this, it would trigger the butted piston. I'm not going to do that now because I want to keep the butted pistons here, but it does work. And the same goes for these down here. The cell, instead of surrounded by obsidian, is surrounded by glass. Because for the same reason, if you try and power it to, like, keep it on while you are escaping, then it will just unpower the piston because it updates it, but it doesn't power it. So yeah, same goes for the butted rails, and that's about it for the cell. So, visiting, well, first for imprisonment, it would be, it's this portal on the right side of the guard room. It's the one with all the glowstone. And what you do is you open the portal, which opens it, and during the entire visit or imprisonment, there will be a guard on this pig watching at all times, ready to disconnect. And yeah, so they enter through the portal, but first, before the portal is lit, they will put a minecart here, a hopper minecart, and then send another TNT minecart, which will get triggered on that. And then it will explode somewhere around here. Yeah. So, once that ban is done, they open the portal. And then, when the person goes through, they close the portal. And they have to click it twice because it dispenses lava. So if you click it once, it'll just keep the lava there. Then what you do, there's a maximum of 4 prisoners. So you can right click. And before any visit or imprisonment, you have to give them mining fatigue before they go through the portal. That way they can't like mess with anything around the prison. So yeah. They right click and then you dispense the lava on them to kill them. And then they will respawn in the cell up here. And this one is a little bit different. Instead of having it be all glowstone, you only dispense a glowstone for one visit. You'd put 1 glowstone in there. That way, and combined with resummoning the dragon, it makes it end exploit proof. So, same thing, you'd kill them, they respawn in the cell. This respawn, though, it's kind of in the way with the moving thing. So, there's just a block here to prevent you from respawning in here. And to compensate for that, there's a block there that's not there. That will pick it up once it moves. And then once this moves all the way down, this will be covered by blocks anyway, so it will be fine. Emergency switch is right here, which will dispense, there's no harming in there, but you just put some in there. Yeah, and then, yeah, so that's mostly it for visiting. I'm trying to think of other things that I had. Yeah, when there's a visit going on, or when a guard is online, they toggle their auto panic. When the light is on, that means that if you disconnect while the light is on, it will trigger the kill switch. If the light is off, you're safe to disconnect and leave, and yeah. So, I mean, that's basically the entire prison. I can't really think of anything else. Oh, yeah. This prison is also, tile tick delay proof for all the important things, because we use mob bans, and we for all the detectors, there's no tile ticks or anything. The only tile ticks are just the like visiting controls, which I mean, if you slow them down, there's not really a point to doing that because it doesn't do anything. And yeah. Also, if the prisoner respawn anchor gets if all of this, there's barrels on top of each one of these hoppers, and if literally all of that gets depleted before the guard can refill it, then something's probably going on. So they will trigger this. It will unpower this piston, which will unpower all the other butted pistons. Yeah, so every single butted piston leads to this. So, yeah, basically all the prison. Yeah, so like I said, exterior was made by Fishy and was helped by me, Leon, and Blonde. And the interior, don't think anyone helped with the interior, as far as I remember. That's pretty much everything. Yeah, I hope you enjoy. Very, the reason this is so late, by the way, is because, yes, the Blob challenge ended on the 29th. However, I asked Blob if I could get extra time because I was gone for 2 weeks and I was getting back on like the night of the 28th. So there was not nearly enough time for me to make a prison. So I politely asked him if I could get extra time, and he said yes. And he gave me until this date, and it is this date, so I'm releasing the prison. And also, it is one chunk challenge, but this is not in the one chunk. I did ask Blob about this. He said it was perfectly fine if I had a moving suicide outside of the one chunk. And yeah. Yeah, so that's basically the prison. I will see you guys in the next video. I will write a comment if I forgot anything. So, yeah. Thanks for watching. The download's in my Discord server in the downloads channel. Alright. See you in the next video.